Hey, Jake with B&H. Today we're talking about a brand new L-mount telephoto and macro zoom lens from Panasonic, the LUMIX S 70-300 f4.5 5.6 macro O.I.S. Lightweight and compact for such a large zoom range, this is the perfect lens for Panasonic to release right now, because it rounds out their already extensive lens ecosystem for their very popular L-mount full-frame S5 mirrorless camera. With similar LUMIX S glass already released, like the 20-60mm and the 24-105mm, the new 70-300mm completes the zoom lens kit and provides plenty of versatility and high-quality image capture of both photos and videos. It comes equipped with a professional feature set that includes a powerful optical image stabilization that compensates for 5.5 stops of camera shake. It has suppressed focus breathing for video shooting, uses linear motors for fast AF speeds, a rugged design that is dust, splash, and freeze resistant, plus it offers the ability to capture sparkling macro photos and videos, so let's dive in. Let's start with the size. This is a large focal range, but it doesn't really feel that way when you pick it up, which is absolutely Panasonic's intent behind the design. It only weighs 1.75 pounds or 790 grams and measures 5.83 inches long, a significant decrease when compared to Panasonic's larger S Pro series of zoom lenses, and a perfect match for the compact Panasonic S5 mirrorless camera, which I have right here. A camera lens combo this small and light will minimize the strain on your neck and back. However, it is an L-mount, so it can work across the entire Panasonic S-series camera lineup that includes the S1H, the S1R, and the S1 respectively. The highlight feature of the lens has to be the impressive ability to capture half macro type photos and videos. At 70mm, the minimum focusing distance is 0.54 meters or 21 inches, while at 300mm focal range, the minimum focusing distance is 0.74 meters or 30 inches, with a maximum magnification of 0.5 times. This makes the lens incredibly versatile. You can go from composing a faraway landscape to capturing a close-up of a flower at your feet without having to change your lens. The 70-300mm is a variable aperture, which means at 70mm you will have a maximum aperture of f4.5, and when you zoom all the way in to 300mm, your maximum aperture is f5.6. But that doesn't mean you can't achieve beautiful bokeh. It does feature a newly designed 11-blade diaphragm that gives the aperture a smooth, rounded shape and helps create beautiful soft beams of light. And remember, you are still compressing space significantly with a zoom range like this, which is perfect for outdoor portraiture, wildlife, natural and urban landscapes, and magnifying subjects that are far away. One extra low dispersion element and two extra low dispersion elements greatly reduce chromatic aberrations and color fringing in order to produce a very high degree of image clarity and color accuracy, which means super crisp and clean images. The advanced optical image stabilization technology found in the LUMIX S 70-300mm is actually the industry's highest on the market. It will correct for up to 5.5 stops of camera shake when shooting handheld for much sharper images. Plus, it supports 5-axis dual IS compatibility with a Panasonic S-series camera for an increased stabilization performance. This means you can achieve sharp images with longer focal lengths at slower shutter speeds. Having reliable stabilization in a zoom range this large is critical to nailing the shot. Having 5.5 stops of handshake compensation means you don't have to jack up your shutter speed to get sharp images, and therefore you don't have to increase your ISO to compensate for your higher shutter speed. So you can keep your ISO low and rely on the powerful optical IS to provide you with high quality images. Now, I think it's fair to say that image quality, image stabilization, and half macro shooting are only as good as the autofocus performance. But don't worry, this lens has got you covered. The LUMIX S 70-300 features high-speed, high-precision autofocus thanks to the drive speed of a linear motor and DFD technology that instantly calculates the distance to the subject and communicates that to the camera in 2.08 milliseconds, despite the longer focus stroke that's required in half macro shooting applications. Both half macro and conventional tracking accuracy have been combined by increasing the zoom position detection performance by 3 times. There is less image shifting when zooming, and the zoom ring has a very smooth damper, which is crucial for shooting video because you don't want to remind the viewer that a camera is being used. Any kind of rough image shift when zooming will immediately disrupt the viewer's experience of your story. Speaking of video, the high-speed precision AF functionality translates very nicely when shooting video. In fact, focus breathing is very suppressed, even while achieving half macro image capture, which means when you shift focus, your subject size stays the same, both on the wide end of the 70mm and the tele end of the 300mm. And thanks to an inner focus system, the autofocus operation within the lens is completely silent. This means you can focus on close-up objects without ruining your camera's internal audio. On the lens body itself, you will find a number of easy, accessible switches. You have the focus switch, allowing you to tell the lens at what depth you want the lens to focus on, either full range or 3 meters to infinity. The AF/MF switch for manual or autofocus selection. Optical image stabilization switch, or OIS switch, allows you to turn the image stabilization on or off. And on the bottom is the zoom lock switch that keeps the barrel from extending, which will protect the lens when packed up or not in use. As I mentioned, the lens is splash dust freeze resistant because the fluorine coating applied to the front of the lens prevents the sticking of oil-based dirt. In addition to the dust and splash resistant construction that protects the lens system from sand, rain, and more. This lens is also tough enough to withstand harsh environments at -10 degrees centigrade, which was really good for me as I was using this in the winter on the North Shore of Long Island and it was rather cold. Every photographer and videographer needs a solid and reliable telephoto zoom range. And as cameras get lighter, the lenses need to follow suit, and the Panasonic 7300mm f4.5 5.6 certainly meets that criteria. The lightweight and compact design is only amplified by the versatility of the focal range. Not only are you getting a fantastic 300mm zoom, but it also has a minimum focusing distance of 30 inches that reproduces an image 0.5 times its actual size. And with 5.5 stops of optical image stabilization and suppressed focus breathing, shooting crisp and sharp high-quality photos or videos couldn't be easier. But what do you think of the new LUMIX S 7300mm? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Jake with B&H, just keep rolling.